Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and which one is better? An SEP or, for example, a solo 401k, or as they call it, an individual 401k when it comes to your business if you are, for example, a business owner? Which one is going to be best? And by the way, the one I use is a solo 401k, but again, that does not mean that is the right one for you, and that's why in this video, I'm going to go over all the pros and the cons of each of these two plans to tell you exactly which one is going to be best for you. However, although I am an accountant, I don't know exactly the situation, so I highly recommend you go out there, get a CPA, or for example, talk to an advisor, that way, financial advisor obviously, that way you can basically get a better idea around your entire situation. But this video is going to give you all the basics as far as, for example, an SEP account and also, for example, a solo 401k account. Now, if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day on this channel, so make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. And on top of that, also destroy the like button. Now, the very first thing is this, guys, an SEP account. What is it? It's basically a simplified employee pension plan. Simplified Employee Pension Plan. That's basically what it is. And by definition, it's supposed to be basically a very simple retirement plan. Now tell me, what are the benefits here? Well, the benefit is obviously you get to go ahead and basically put aside for retirement up to $58,000 a year, all right? But you can't invest more than 25% of your earnings either. So basically, in order to go ahead and max that out, $58,000, you have to be making somewhere around, divided by 0.25, somewhere around 232K every single year in order to go ahead and max out that 25% and max out that up to $58,000 number. That's the idea. So if I have a business, I can only invest up to $58,000 in my business, which equals 25% of basically my earnings. And on top of that, this money is also pre-tax, meaning, for example, it saves you money to go ahead and invest this money. And by the way, although it is tax-free right now and it's going tax-free, in the future, when you take this money out, you will be taxed then. But at least for right now, this money keeps growing tax-free. And that's the core idea. But on top of that, Tommy, okay, but where can I go ahead and invest into an SEP account? And on top of that, what should I invest into once I have this account? Well, the answer is, again, this is just a retirement account. You still have to go ahead and select your investments. Always keep that in mind. If you just put money away in there and you don't pick investments, it doesn't make any sense. Make sure to pick your investments. Now, as far as where you can actually invest, I recommend, for example, M1 Finance for ETFs and stocks, or for example, also Vanguard if you want to do, for example, index funds and also mutual funds, okay? Links down below to both. Now tell me, why these two right here? Well, Vanguard has amazing customer service, been around for a very long time, also has very low fees. That's why I like them. And M1 Finance is more for long-term investors, and that's why I like them so much also. And by the way, I have a link down below exactly what I invest into in M1 Finance. And if you click it, you can basically create an SEP account over at M1 Finance, okay? And by the way, there are no crazy fees either, and that's what I like about these two platforms right here. However, if you want to use Fidelity or Schwab's or TD or any other platform out there, you can if you want to. However, the ones I like most and trust the most are basically M1 Finance and use currently, by the way, and also Vanguard. Those are the ones I basically use the most. Now tell me, what should I invest into? Well, the answer is you can invest into, for example, stocks, bonds, ETF, mutual funds, index funds, whatever you want to basically. But however though, if you do create, for example, a self-directed SEP plan, you can basically almost, okay, they recommend this, okay, but you can also, for example, go ahead and also invest into real estate through your entire SEP plan, okay? That's the idea. However, keep in mind, I don't recommend you go out there and play around with your retirement money. So make sure before you do this, you fully understand exactly how it works so you don't go ahead and make a mistake and basically get penalized. So be very, very careful with trying to own real estate with your entire SEP account, okay? That's the idea. Now, the main cons, guys, are basically, and why I don't really like the account is basically, well, the first thing is there is no Roth option. Meaning, for example, yes, you get tax benefits like today, but in the future you pay taxes, but there is no Roth account. Meaning I just can't, for example, pay taxes today and basically avoid taxes overall in the long term. On top of that, okay, if you take money out before you're 59 years old, you will have to pay a penalty of 10%, and on top of that, also pay taxes on that amount also. So keep that in mind. There is penalties and restrictions on this account. It's usually just for retirement. You have to keep that money there for a very, very long time. However, there is a hack here. So once you're done with this business or this employer, you can go ahead and basically say, hey, I'm gonna grab this money in my Sep account, roll it over into a traditional IRA, and then roll that money over, for example, into a Roth IRA. That way I can pay taxes today and then basically just have that money grow tax-free also. That's a way to do it. However, guys, keep in mind also that if you open up, for example, an Sep account and you're, for example, just by yourself and no employees, you're limited up to 20% of your earnings, not 25% anymore. So meaning you have to make more money in order to get, for example, to that $58,000 cap. Now tell me, why would anyone want to invest so much money? Because basically, if you're in the business of business, you know for a fact, business money is not always guaranteed. So investing a lot today is going to basically equal a higher chance for the future, so you can actually have money there. That's why you would want to invest a lot more money, around $58,000 if you actually can. That's the idea. Now, it's solo 401k, Tommy. What do you like about this one right here? Well, the big benefit is basically, and by the way, this right here is the one I have. I have an individual 401k. And again, this is usually going to be just for people that have a business, but it's only them working there. So while you do this, in a way, you're the only person there. However, you wear two hats. You're also the business owner and also an employee for the business. And by the way, I also have, for example, an S corporation, if you were wondering. Now, it gives you the benefits of also having, for example, a 401k account. So for example, maybe I want to buy a home, my first house, I get up to $10,000 taken out of my account without paying any penalties on it. And by the way, that is awesome. On top of that also, if I want to go ahead and borrow money from my 401k, well, that's also an option, although I do not recommend it. Sep accounts do not have loan options, which are great, by the way, but I don't recommend you borrow money even though you can from your 401k. That's not a good idea, because if you lose that money, you pay interest, and that's going to be a problem. And that's why, like Vanguard, they don't allow that stuff with a solo 401k account. On top of that also, guys, when you have a solo 401k account, you can also get, for example, a Roth 401k account. Your contributions can also be, for example, from you, the employee, and also you, the employer. And that's something I like a ton. So for example, me right now, myself, as being, for example, the employer of myself, the employee, very weird stuff, right? But overall, the benefit is that basically I can invest up to $58K. Also, for example, with the solo 401k account, up to 25% of my earnings, right? But the idea is I pay myself, for example, $48,000, right? I can invest up to 25% of that, okay, of my actual earnings, what I actually pay myself, my compensation. So basically, I can go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and invest 25% of this. That's around $12K into my 401k account. My business side. Now, why? Because basically this way, the business saves money on taxes. But also, as an employee, I can also have, for example, a Roth 401k. So on top of that, I can also go ahead and invest an additional $19,500 of my entire compensation. So I can grab that money and say, hey, I'll invest $19,500 and boom, now I get $31,000. Now again, between your compensation and basically what the employer invests, it cannot exceed still $58,000. So the big thing is basically, well, Tommy, if you want to max this out, what does this mean? It means, for example, I have to pay myself more money, somewhere around $154K. That's the idea. And that means a lot more taxes when it comes, for example, payroll taxes and FICA tax and all that stuff. So keep in mind, okay, make sure you talk to a CPA, because the idea is not maxing out, but the idea is maxing out to a level where it makes sense financially. Because if I max it out but I pay more taxes, it doesn't make sense. That's what I don't like about it, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, where can you open one? You can use, for example, Vanguard for this. Highly, highly recommend Vanguard. They're good, but there's only one problem here. Customer service is great. Investments are great. Options are great. However, the one problem is basically that when you start this, okay, they will charge you a fee of around $20 a year per entire investment. Now, Tommy, this is a lot of money, right? But in reality, no. Once you get, for example, up to $50K in assets overall in your portfolio, they waive it completely. It's just a part of the game, okay? They have to make money some way, somehow, all right? But at least, for example, you don't have a minimum contribution, because by the way, to invest into Vanguard, sometimes you're going to need around $3K per investment. But this way, they waive that, and just charge you $20 a year. But once you get over 50K, you don't pay anything whatsoever. And if you're gonna be maxing this out, the answer is you'll get there potentially in the first year or in the first year and a half or 2 years. That's the idea. You wanna max this stuff out. Now, lastly, guys, keep in mind with the Roth 401k and normal 401k, you can invest, for example, into stocks, mutual funds, index funds, bonds, all those things, okay? But also, I like the idea of having a Roth 401k because eventually I can roll that over also into a Roth IRA, which would benefit me a ton. That's the idea. So that way, I don't have to wait a ton of time to take money out if I want to. Retire early, that is, okay? Now, overall, Tommy, which one is better here? Is it the solo 401k or is it, for example, the Simplified Employee Pension Plan? SEP, or it should be SEPP, okay? But I don't know why I didn't say that. It sounds weird, I know. However, the idea is that if you do have employees, the SEP is gonna be better. But if you don't have employees, the 401k is going to, well, the solo 401k is gonna be a lot better, and that's the one I use, okay? However, I recommend, again, speak to your CPA, speak to an advisor, get more information, find out more plans, because by the way, those two are not the only ways to save money for retirement when it comes to, for example, being a business owner, okay? And by the way, I also have a video on that on the channel, and I'll link it down below also. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. And by the way, guys, if you guys want to talk to me one-on-one directly for 30 minutes for free from Monday to Friday, well, join me on my other channel called Ask TommyBryson, where I take calls from Monday to Friday, and I call you directly for free. Link down below. Go subscribe over there. And I also have another channel called TommyBryson Show, where I also post there every single day, okay? I'll see you guys next time. And by the way, if you want to DM me, join me on Instagram at TommyBryson. But I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.